Welcome to Holocaust Museum Houston. My name is Dr. Michelle Tovar, and I'm Associate Director of Education focusing on Latino initiatives here at the museum. To celebrate the opening of the exhibit Mandela's Struggle for Freedom, we are speaking with organizations from around Houston which are working to protect human rights and serve our community. Today I have the pleasure of speaking with Daniel Garcia Prats of Finca Tres Robles. Daniel, thank you so much for joining us. I'm very excited to learn about more about your organization and the fantastic initiatives that you have at Finca Tres Robles and leading within your community. Thank you for being here. First, can you tell us a little bit about Finca Tres Robles and what is your organization's mission?
Thanks, Michelle. Finca Tres Robles is an urban farm, and we're located just east of downtown Houston in the Second Ward. We have been working now for the last 6 years to build out a farm that is an asset and resource in building community health in the Second Ward. It's primarily a working class Latinx community, and we've really worked over the last several years to not only bring fresh food to the community that we grow on the farm, but also make the space a place for education with area schools coming out for field trips, people coming by for classes, as well as making it an outdoor space for people to come enjoy through various events and things like that. And really using the things that we have to connect with other organizations within the Second Ward to really build a culture of health in that community.
Great. Now, are there any human rights issues that you feel are very important, and how does your organization contribute to that?
One of our big things is around food justice. The Second Ward is a food desert, and so we have limited access to fresh quality fruits and vegetables.
So what are some human rights issues that you're concerned about, and how does your organization contribute to helping?
Yeah, one of the big human rights things that we really work on at Finca Tres Robles has to do with food justice. The Second Ward is, and people in that community lack access to fresh fruits and vegetables and healthy food options. It's also considered what's called a food swamp, which means not only is there not fresh produce and fresh food options, there's also an overabundance of unhealthy fast foods and things like that in these communities as well. And so, it's really important to go into these communities and try to provide them with opportunities to connect with not only healthy food options, but also find the other support resources necessary to be healthy within that, such as education around cooking and things like that as well. And then aside of that as well is environmental justice. We're someone who grows sustainably and is very, we grow organically, so no pesticides and things like that. And the Second Ward and a lot of the East End is traditionally sort of more industrial. And so there's a lot of unequal burden placed on these communities when it comes to pollution and things like that. And so that's also part of our work, is sort of making sure that the community has a clean, green space for them to be outdoors and enjoy their community.
Wonderful. How has COVID-19 impacted your work?
COVID-19 has been really interesting for us. When the pandemic hit, we actually saw an increase in demand for people looking for fresh produce. And we also saw an increase in need from people in our community who lost jobs and, were and have been and continue to struggle at this time. Obviously, with a lot of the health issues, being in a working class community, a lot of people who are in the neighborhood and live there who still had jobs were essential workers. And so they were out continuing to work and being exposed to the virus. And so there was also, I think, a disproportionate burden placed on members of our community as well. But pretty quickly, we transitioned to a drive-through model so that people can come and actually drive through to pick up their produce. And then we connected with some of our community partners and people we've gotten to know in the neighborhood, and began getting referred people who had lost jobs and were looking for help and support, particularly with food and getting meals each week. And so for a good portion of the early part of the pandemic in particular, we were serving about 50 families a week with bags of fresh produce, as well as eggs, and working through some community partners, also sourcing some rice and beans to be able to supplement the produce that we were able to provide, all free of charge to these families. And so we've continued to do that. We've scaled back a little bit, just as things have begun to reopen a little bit. The need has lessened somewhat, but we continue to do about 30 bags of produce a week to families in the area. And so it's something that we think is really important, and that we're hoping to continue to do, until this pandemic is really over.
Wonderful work that y'all are doing. How could people and the public get involved with your organization, and how can they help?
Yeah, the best way for people to help is, there's really two ways. One would be just coming by and purchasing produce from us. We're open to the general public, so anybody can come by and purchase produce from us. And so that helps us, especially during these economic times, to be able to continue doing what we're doing. And the other thing is the produce that we've been donating to the community has been, we've had portions of that covered by people who have been generous to support that program. But probably about half of it at this point is just coming out of the farm. And so we're looking for donations as well to help sort of cover those costs, to be able to continue to serve the families that we have. And if we have the financial wherewithal, actually be able to increase that as well.
And where can people go to make these donations?
Yeah, you can go to our website, which is fincatresrobles.org. And we should have a button at the top, donate, that will allow you to donate there, as well as find out any other information about us that you're interested in.
Now, I know younger generations like to be involved now. A lot of urban gardening has been happening. I know at this time it might not be possible, but do you invite younger people, high school students, to possibly come and help and learn a little bit more about gardening and farming? I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Yeah. In normal times, it's something that's really important to us, actually. We do field trips, and we do field trips from ages pre-K all the way through college students. And so it's a great opportunity to come engage. And with that younger generation, usually it's kind of a little more surface level in terms of just getting them out and seeing food and introducing the idea that food comes from the ground. And then we can get into some higher level discussions with high schoolers and things like that. So we really do enjoy getting that age group out, because it allows us to kind of talk about things a little bit differently. We typically do a summer internship for a high schooler, and we really try to focus that on a high schooler in the area, to come out, and it's a paid position for them to actually see if a career in agriculture is something that they might be interested in. And so we really try to do that. We've had a few schools who have had some volunteer groups who have come out, over the course of the year to help us with projects and get the kids acquainted with what we're doing. We've worked with Austin High School, who a few years ago got a grant and decided to build some community gardens at some of the various elementary and middle schools. And so we supported them in that project, which was a really, really cool and unique project. And so, yeah, we try to get people involved in what we're doing. And, that high school age in particular is a lot of fun because they're interested and they're engaged. And, it's a fun age group to begin introducing a lot of these topics to.
Yeah, we had the great opportunity of bringing up some of our student ambassadors from Engines of Change to your farm about 2 years ago, I believe, and we're still so inspired by that and amazed, by what they witnessed and what you told them. Is there any other information that you'd like to share with our viewers that you think we should know about your organization?
Great question. I would say that really when we look at urban farming and you, in the last question, you kind of sort of mentioned it differentiated like gardening and farming, and we see sort of farming, trying to sort of push that narrative, because I think one of the biggest differences between farming and gardening is that, we sell vegetables to try to make a living. And, for us, I think that's an important thing. And I think, for us as a city, we kind of want to show what urban farming is capable of. And it is more than the production. For us to serve the second world community, it means a lot more than just growing the food and distributing it to the neighborhood. There's in healthcare right now, the sort of buzzword is social determinants of health. And it's basically saying that most of the things that determine our health have nothing to do with healthcare. And so we sort of take that perspective with our farm and really want to make it an asset and a resource, not just for food access, but for economic development and for education and for employment and a lot of other things that contribute to sort of building a stronger, more resilient, healthier community. And I think urban farming is a unique tool for actually doing that.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you. Thank you for your incredible work. Finca Tres Robles is doing within our community and for taking the time to talk to us today. If you'd like to learn more about Finca Tres Robles, visit their website at fincatresrobles.org or stop by Holocaust Museum Houston on Saturday, September 26th between 10 and 5 p.m. to receive free membership to the museum and to learn more about this organization and other human rights organizations in the Houston area. We hope to see you there. Thanks again, Daniel, and our viewers for joining us today. Mandela's Struggle for Freedom will be on view September 11th through January 3rd, 2021. For more information about Holocaust Museum Houston and our upcoming events, please follow us at hmh.org, or you can follow us on Instagram and our social media, Facebook at Boniac Center. I get always tangled up on that. But thank you again for joining us. We appreciate you taking the time.
Great. Thanks, Michelle. I really appreciate it.